as far as starting it and things and all that stuff, I did that all on my own. Like, of course, I had the knowledge. I gained the knowledge from working for someone else. But as far as stuff like even things like payroll and marketing and promoting and all of that stuff, I just Googled, I researched. I did most of that on my own.
Welcome to Beating the Odds, the podcast about successful minority businesses that will inspire, educate, and inform you. Your host is Mike Dewey, entrepreneur and founder of Hidden Star, a 501c3 nonprofit that has helped hundreds of minority entrepreneurs start and grow their businesses. Discover and celebrate minority business success with Beating the Odds.
This is Mike Dewey, and on the show today is Jordan Blackmon and his company, Blackmon Tutoring. Jordan, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So thanks for coming on and tell us a story about you and your entrepreneurial journey. It means a lot to a lot of people, and thanks for sharing. So can you tell us a little bit about your childhood, where you grew up, all the a little bit of background?
Yeah, so I'm from the Dallas area. I was born in Plano, Texas. Lived in Dallas for a little bit, and then majority of my life I lived in Frisco, Texas. I grew up hardworking family. My dad's from Gary, Indiana. My mom's actually from Austin, Texas. They both, were less fortunate growing up, and they worked hard to get where they are now. And they provided a lifestyle for me that was decent and better than, what they had. And I was fortunate to be able to take advantage of the opportunities they gave me to help better myself. But, from Dallas, I went to Frisco High School, and then transferred to Bishop Dunn in Oak Cliff in South Dallas. And from then on, I ended up going to college and all that stuff.
Where'd you go to college?
I ended up going to Northeastern Oklahoma Junior College to play baseball. Well, I played baseball and football. I went the junior college route because my plan was to get drafted, because when you go to junior college, you can get drafted after your first year. And, things didn't go my way, injuries in football and baseball and things of that nature. And from that point, when I figured out I wasn't going to get drafted, I knew I needed to buckle down in my studies. Because one day, my freshman year, even though I was hurt, I had a decent season. But the coach came up to me and he was like, because my GPA was pretty low at the time. Because, like I said, my mindset was just to get in and get out. And
right.
He was like, your GPA needs to be a certain level for you to go to, Division I schools. Because I had schools like Texas and Texas Tech calling. And I didn't even realize that at the time. So I was like, wow, I really need to, buckle down. And it had nothing to do with my mental capacity. I'm a pretty smart guy. So I just, it was all about effort. So once I buckled down and, got into my studies, I started making honor rolls and things like that. But after junior college, I went to Houston Baptist University. Got my bachelor's degree in sports management. And then from then on, it was a COVID year, so COVID happened. And I also had a medical red shirt. So I went to William Carey University and got my master's in interscholastic athletic administration. And, that's where Blackmon Tutoring came about once I got my master's in the education realm. And then graduated from there, and, now we're here.
And here, you now live in Austin, Texas?
Yes, I'm currently playing in Austin for the Austin Weirdos. I'm an independent professional baseball team out here. Yeah, I was signed in Mexico, played out there, and then I played for the minor league system with the Giants, with the Ogden Raptors. Played with them, pulled my hamstring, got released, and now I'm out here in Austin. Trying to get, work my way back up. So yeah, I've been out here in Austin for the last month and a half.
So you come out of high school, you're really good at baseball. You go to college, you play baseball, want to get drafted in the major leagues. You have some injuries. that hadn't happened yet, but you're still playing minor league baseball. And during that period of time, you've now started a business, right?
Yes, Blackmon Tutoring. I got into that because when I was in college, I was working for, well, I'm sure you know what Sylvan is, right? Sylvan, the tutoring service.
Sure.
I was working for Sylvan, and, just helping kids, while I was in college just to make a little extra money. And I just, I noticed, I love helping people. That's why I ended up getting into this business. I just love helping people and giving back to the community and getting that feedback and, touching others. And I got a complaint from one of my clients that was calling and telling me that I really can't afford this. I'm not able to do tutoring anymore. And then I was telling them, that's not in my control. That's the company. And they had signed a contract and everything and things and all that, things of that nature. So I was like, there's no way that I can help you. Out of curiosity, I asked, how much are they charging you? And she told me it was like 150 a session. And at the time, I was only getting paid 12 an hour. And this was only an elementary student. They had learning disabilities, but, they were a lower income family. They were a lower income family, and, they were just doing what they could to try to get them, get their son on to the next grade. But
right.
You see how crazy that is, the difference in how much they're charging plus what they're paying the tutors as well. But
yeah, tell me again how much they were charging.
150 a session.
Wow.
And they were paying their tutors 12 to 15 an hour. This is for elementary students. And Sylvan, they have the commercials and they have the names, so people are going to gravitate to that because they've been around for a long time. And from that point on, I asked my boss at the time. I said, hey, this person is struggling. They can't afford it. Or is there a way you can release them from the contract? And then I just tutored them on the side. And of course they said no. And so I waited till the contract was up, and I said, you know what? I'll help you out. I'll tutor you for 30 an hour, and I'm making a little more as well as I'm helping you out tremendously. Because education is important, and you need to invest in it, but it shouldn't be that much. And I started working. His name's DJ. I still work with him to this day. They're like, now that I run the business, it's harder for me to tutor now, but like he's the reason I got started. Like he went from, being held back to being advanced in reading and math. And, they were so thankful, and they were like, oh man, we're going to have to tell other people. So, around the Dallas area, around the neighborhood, started telling parents, reaching out. And, I got decent clientele just from that. And then that's how, I started making, decent money to where, I needed to get it legitimized so the IRS wouldn't come after me, And then that's how Blackmon Tutoring started.
So how many years ago was that?
It'll be 2 years in September.
All right, 2 years, great. And how many students are you all tutoring in all of Blackmon Tutoring?
So now, I can tell you, it's over 200. Because now I've expanded. Because I started locally, but I've expanded to 15 states now.
Okay, so in less than 2 years, you start a company. You're tutoring 200 people. You're in a bunch of different states. Things must be going pretty good, right?
Yes, they're going decent. It's still, I'm at the point now where I'm trying to expand, because now I've gotten to the point where, it's getting harder to run it on my own, because, I'm doing this all on my own. Now the next step is to, start hiring people, and, things of that nature.
So when you were a kid, did you ever dream about owning your own business or being an entrepreneur, or was it mainly just baseball dreams for you?
It was mainly, I always wanted to do something that I can make an impact on others, as well as something that I knew that I would enjoy. So sports is something that I've always enjoyed, so that was always an option. I always wanted to work, you know, in the sports industry. That's something I still like to do. But I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit. Any way that I could, make money and impact others is like no matter what it is. I've just always been like even during the pandemic. Like my mother, she's good at sewing and things of that nature, and she made a mask. Like she made a mask for me when COVID was really bad, and I was like, and this was when you remember when there was a time when it was hard to find masks.
Right, right.
So so I was like, you know what? How about you continue to make these masks? I promote it. I'm a social media promote it. Market it, and we can start a little business that way. And that's a little. Obviously, it's not doesn't make as much money as it did at that time, but I just I always have that mindset to hustle and.
Now, is anybody in your family or friends, are they entrepreneurs? Did you just come by this yourself?
My dad he's an insurance agent. He's an independent insurance agent. So
Right.
I feel like a little bit of that mindset comes from him.
Yeah, if you're an independent insurance agent, you're out there hustling or you don't get to eat.
Right. Exactly. So I feel like I got that from him. He built his business from the ground up, and so yeah, I definitely believe I got that from him.
With a service business like this, you didn't really have any capital investment, but so you didn't need any money to start the company. Really, you just needed to start tutoring people at a lot less than the other company was charging them, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's how That's how I made a name for myself, and got clients because my rates are affordable than those fancy tutoring services out there, and my services were good. So not only were you paying cheaper price, but you were paying for quality service.
That's generally a pretty good combination.
Right.
So was there anybody that you knew that you were getting advice from or you were talking to about support and those sorts of things? Were there any mentors along the way?
I had people come like after. As far as starting it and things and all that stuff, I did that all on my own. Like, of course, I had the knowledge. I gained the knowledge from working for someone else. Like as far as how to set up things, customer service, how to keep track of hours, things of that nature. I got from working with another company. But as far as stuff like even things like payroll and marketing and promoting and all of that stuff, I just Googled, I researched. I did most of that on my own.
Wow, that's amazing. Good for you. When you started to get the word out and the word around the neighborhood was that Jordan does a good job tutoring and it's a lot less expensive, did you pick up too many kids for you to tutor and you had to start hiring other tutors? How did that work?
Yes, that's exactly what happened. So like it got to the point where I was getting calls, every other day, and not even calls from, my area. I was getting calls from the outskirts, like hours away from me. And,
right.
Gas high, that's hard to do when you have multiple people traveling all over. So that's when I was like, cause it never, it never was in my thought process to grow and become, I just thought it was just going to be, independent at first. But, yeah, I got about 15 kids, and it got to a point where I can't do this on my own. So I reached out because, I got a couple of friends from high school that were smart. So I was like, hey, I've been tutoring these kids. Would you like to tutor? And that's how I made my first hires. And then from that point on, that's when I started getting into, the hiring process, becoming more, legitimate with it, making job posts. LinkedIn, care.com, Indeed, things of that nature. I started doing that to get the word out. Hey, I'm looking for tutors in the area. You know, that's how that started.
So, how many tutors do you have now that are working for Blackmon Tutoring, working with students?
Yeah, I have about over 50 tutors that are working with students.
Wow, that's amazing. So you start tutoring kids in your neighborhood, and as always happens, when you do a really good thing for a really fair price, the word gets out, right? And now you get 50 tutors working for you, tutoring kids. And is it still mainly in the Dallas-Fort Worth area?
It is. That's, because that's where it started. But I'd say my top places now would be Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, Boston, surprisingly, and Florida. So I'd say Tampa, Florida.
Wow, that's awesome. And you do the same outreach, marketing, social media, those sorts of things to get the word out and get new pupils, new student clients?
Yes, mainly pushing through social media. Care.com is a great source. So anyone who's starting a business or has a business, care.com is a great way to, get your word out. Of course, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Facebook as well. Facebook is big, especially if you want, for what I do, because, it's still in that we're in the generation where it's starting to change, but a lot of the parents are, on Facebook, the older, like the 30s, 40-year-olds, 50. They're using, they mainly use Facebook more than they use Twitter or Instagram. So that's where I get a lot of clients too, because, they're looking at that media.
Well, those students aren't paying for it. It's the older
Right.
people that are paying for it. So
Yeah.
you got to, what's that old saying? You got to go hunting where the ducks are. So how long did it take? I mean, I'm assuming, I normally ask how long does it take till you're profitable, but you were probably profitable right from the beginning, huh?
Oh yeah, it's profitable from the beginning. I've gotten to the point where I didn't want to spend any money on marketing, and besides my website, I had to spend on that. But besides any other things, like my goal was to make a solid amount of money just pushing it through social media and things that I didn't have to take out of my own pocket, to promote. And now, that I'm making a decent amount of money, now I'm going to start really pushing Google ads, try to upgrade my website. I'm even looking into getting a commercial. I'm still deciding of that because, that's pretty expensive, but I'm looking into doing that as well.
So as an entrepreneur, what's been the hardest thing running your own company or starting? What's been the hardest thing on your journey so far?
I guess I could give you two things. The hardest thing is, well, for me, cause I'm still playing baseball. So
Right.
It's time management has been the hardest thing for me because, I'm still chasing my dream, playing the sport I love while also trying to grow my business and become more successful in that. So like as far as, and even things like payroll and just keeping track, it takes a lot out of my day to, especially now that I have a lot of people, when tutors submit me their hours, I have to send out invoices. So mainly like the ins and outs of running a company that, the little stuff that's very important, and then time management. Just having time to fit all those things in.
Sure. Has there been anything that has surprised you? What has there been a surprising thing that caught you off guard, whether good or bad?
It surprised me at the beginning. It surprised me how profitable, this industry is at the beginning. But when I thought about it, it made sense because as long as I live, kids are going to be born. There will be college students, there will be high school students that are struggling. So tutoring is not going anywhere. Kids are always going to need help. So this is a service that's, that's never going to end. It's never going to die off. Like, for example, when I said we started the little mask business, that's something that's not profitable anymore, but tutoring is not going to go anywhere. So that's the one thing that kind of, well, it shocked me at the beginning, but then once I broke it down and thought about it, I was like, well, this was a pretty good move.
So your audience in all these different states and cities that you're in, mainly, 30s, 40s, maybe 50-year-old. These are parents, right? Who
Right.
want to help their kids improve and presumably go off to college and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that seems like a pretty durable marketplace. As you just said, the parents are always going to spend to support their kids.
Yeah, and when they know that you have their back and you have their best interests at heart. Like, I'm not doing it for the money, and they see that. They see that through, my social media pages, through my testimonials. When they speak to me, I'm all about giving back.
That's awesome. If you had one thing to do differently, what would you do different?
Maybe be more organized. Um, Find a mentor, like you said when you asked me if anyone, helped me or mentored me through. I would have reached out for more help. Maybe ask questions. Maybe even spent money to get some advice, just how to smoothly run a business. Because it took me a while to get where I'm at now, as far as being organized with my QuickBooks and income and taxes, all that important stuff. Because I kind of had to learn it all on my own and wing it. So that's something I would change.
So you're a baseball guy, and now you're a business guy. And in business, what's more important, ambition or talent?
Definitely ambition, because you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have any ambition to grow and be successful, it's not going to be anything. And that's in sports as well. If you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have the drive to practice and get better and work on your game, it's not going to happen for you. And there's hundreds of examples of those in sports and in business.
So if you were giving advice to young entrepreneurs now, and you're still a young entrepreneur, but if you're giving advice to other people starting their business or thinking about starting their business, what's the one piece of advice you'd give them?
Don't let anyone tell you that your idea is crazy, or that it's not possible, or that it's not doable. If you have a passion for it and it's something you believe in, and you'll work hard to get it where it needs to be, then pursue that. Because people, even when I started my business, people were telling me, "Oh, this might not work out. Oh, you're not even or you're not a teacher," or, things like that. "Oh, you're young," even that I heard that a few times. "Oh, you're young. Why don't you just work for someone else?" Or, so just don't let anyone doubt you, and don't doubt yourself. And that's the main advice I could give anyone.
Great advice. I mean, it's it's pretty amazing, truthfully, what you've done, right? So you're a young guy. If you don't mind my asking, how old are you?
I'm 24.
So you're 24 years old. You're still playing professional baseball. You started a tutoring company 2 years ago. It's growing like crazy. You're in 15 states. You've got 60 tutors working for you. I mean, that's amazing. I do have a question. So, as a minority entrepreneur, are there any specific challenges you faced as a minority entrepreneur that others wouldn't face or haven't faced?
Yeah, unfortunately, I've gotten, I've missed out on a few clients just because, with me being a minority, the legitimacy of my business is questioned sometimes. And I constantly have to prove myself to, other people, to clients, other business owners. Like, for example, I applied for because, I was eligible to get one of those business loans, or not a loan, a grant. And, I was getting questioned about the grant, questions about, do I pay taxes? Am I running my business correctly? And I truly believe that, if I was someone else, those questions wouldn't be, asked. And that's the main things I've had to deal with. Besides that, I'd say being a minority has also helped me because, it's just a different outlook. And I've been able to, like I said, I do it to give back to the community. So I've been able to reach out to a lot of minorities and be able to provide them a service that they usually are not able to get. So, it's been good on both ends.
So what percentage of the students that you all tutor are minority students?
I'd say about 70%.
What percentage of the tutors are minority tutors?
It's probably a little bit over 50%. Yeah, that's what I like too, because a lot of my tutors, whatever ethnicity or race, they love the vision that I have, and that's why they want to work for me, because I'm not paying, I'm paying more than I was getting paid when I was tutoring, but they're not getting top dollar, but they're giving back to the communities. They're doing something they love, and it's all about giving back and helping and trying to grow society and push it in the right direction. And most all of my tutors that end up joining me, they agree with that vision.
Well, you're a persuasive guy, and it's a compelling vision, and you're doing just an incredible job. Pretty amazing. So for our listeners that want to find you, whether they have a kid that needs tutors and they want to tutor or just want to know how to find you, can you give us websites, social media? How would they find out about you?
So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blackmon Tutoring, BLACKMON TUTORING, Blackmon Tutoring. And then also my website, blackmontutoring.com. And, those are my platforms. The website will be, I'm working on upgrading the website. So, over the course of the next couple of months, it may be down off and on, because, we're making improvements on that.
Well, I'll tell you, Jordan, you're the kind of entrepreneur that inspires other entrepreneurs. So thank you for taking time and coming on the show and talking to our listeners about your journey. And, hopefully some of them will reach out to you and get you some more business and help you do more good. But thank you very, very much for your time today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.